Hello everybody. Google Meet has been updated in our district this morning, and we wanted to get the information out to you as quickly as possible how you can begin using these tools inside of your classroom. There's no need to watch this video if you are one that likes to just kind of play around with stuff and get it figured out, but if you do need some time to watch over this, we wanted to provide it for you. If this still isn't enough, my trainings, the trainings that have been happening on Wednesdays, this Wednesday, which is going to be October 21st, we're going to be doing a session dedicated just to the new features inside of Google Meet. So without talking too much, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm logged in under a few different accounts here, just to kind of show off what everything looks like. And I hope that the first thing that you'll notice is right here across the top, you see a new button that's been added. So you have your People tab, you have your Chat, and then now you have something called Activities. So on the teacher side of things, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you'll notice that there are three more options that have been added. So you have breakout rooms, you have polls, and you have Q&A. Now on the student side, what does this look like? Now I have the student account pulled up now, and on the left hand side is the student account and on the right hand side is the teacher account. On the student account, I'm going to click on activities, and you can see that they also have the same options. Now if I were to click on breakout rooms here, it doesn't give them an option to do anything. If I click on polls here, it doesn't give them the option to do anything. But if I click on Q&A, well, right now it doesn't give me the option to do anything yet. On the teacher side though, what I can do on the Q&A is to turn on Q&A, and as soon as I do that, students are given the option to start typing in questions. So I'm going to go ahead and type one out. Alright, so this question came from Cave Student 3, and it says, how do I start breakout rooms? And it is probably the question you most want to get answered as well. We will get there, I promise you. Now, on the teacher side of things, you notice, well, first of all, let me look at the student side. The student side has the opportunity to delete the question. So if they didn't type something, if they made an edit, or if the question got answered along the way, they can delete this question. And you know what, looking at the student, looking at a different student though, you can see that they have the same information, except they do not have the ability to delete the question that was asked. Now on the teacher side of things, we have three different options. We can mark it as hidden, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to mark that as hidden, and you'll notice that this notes that this question was hidden, but it's still there. For the student that did not ask the question goes away, and it seems like no question has been asked at all. And of course on the teacher side, I still have the same options. I can unhide it, and also the other two buttons, I can mark it as answered, and I can delete the question. So if I mark it as answered, you'll notice what happens is that there is a checkbox that appears there that just says that it has been answered. It doesn't go away, it doesn't remove it in any way, it's just going to make a note that it has been answered. Now, further, I can delete this question, and it's going to delete it from both sides, but I also have this little thumbs up button. Students can click on that thumbs up button to basically do an upvote to say, yeah, I have that question also. And it does, again, get updated in real time. And this tells me that, okay, not just the person that asked this question, not only do they have a question, but I have two more people who also have that same question. So this would be a good way to figure out not just whether or not kids have questions, but whether a lot of kids have the same questions inside of your meets. Now, you also do have some filtering options up here. You can filter by, on the teacher side, by all questions, ones that have been unanswered, ones that you have answered, and ones that you've hidden. So if you have, 50 questions here, you might really find a lot of use for these filters right here. And you can also order them by oldest first, the newest first, the ones that pop up, or by the ones that are popular, so the ones that get the most upvotes. So this would be a good way to show at the top the questions that most of the students in your class need an answer to. Now, students also have those filters. They're not quite as much. They obviously don't have options to see the hidden or see any of that stuff, but they do have, they can see either all questions or questions that they themselves have asked. But they can also sort by oldest, newest, and popular. So that's the Q&A function. Going over to the polls, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I have the opportunity to start a poll. Remember, students didn't have anything that was going on their side of things, but I have the opportunity to start a poll. So I'm going to go ahead and start one. I'm going to click Start, and it says Ask a Question. So I'm going to ask the question, what is your favorite food? And I'm going to type, let's see, pizza, hamburger, I can add an option and go hot dog. I do not know what the limit on the number of options are. I haven't tested that out, but maybe if you want to test it out on your spare time and get back to me, that would be great. But you can add more options, at least quite a few. Now, I have a few different options here. I can delete the question if I just decide I don't want to ask that. I can launch it right away that will send the question or the poll to my students, or I can save it for later. And I really like the fact that you can save it for later because then you're not wasting time building out these questions when the students are in the meet with you. You can get them built out prior to them showing up, get ready for class basically, and then send out that poll question to them whenever the time is right. So it hangs out in the poll section. So I can come over here and I can do more Q&A, I can do all this stuff, and I can go back into my poll and click launch when I'm ready to click on it. So when I click on launch, you'll notice what happens on the student side of things. They're going to get a pop-up on the bottom right that says a new poll has been launched. What is your favorite food? And if I click on it, if I'm quick and I click on it, then it does pop it up here. But you notice if I was not quick enough to click on it here, it goes away. So the kids can get back to it though. You'll notice right here, remember they have the activities button as well. They can click activities, and under polls there's a green dot, and that green dot tells them that there is a new poll, and then there's the option. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do I'll click pizza on this side, and I want to point out that these are automatic, so these get answered in real time. So as soon as I click vote, my answer appears. It took about 3 seconds for it to appear right over there. If I do hot dog on this end, then the answer gets put right over there. If the student joins twice, so if the student, if Mandy Morgan decided to open up a new tab and join again, she would not have the opportunity to vote 2 times, which is important. So once they have done this, it's going to say voted. They cannot change their vote in any way. They're not seeing any options. They have answered that question. Now I can create another poll though. And launch that, and it will appear below. So you can see that I have voted in this poll, and I need to vote in this poll. So I'm going to say yes to both of these right here. So again, everything pops up. Now I have a third person in here, and I can see that they have not voted yet. But at some point, I'm going to have to go ahead and stop this poll. So when I click End Poll, it no longer gives them any other information because it's not live. It tells them that it has ended. Now, I also have the opportunity on my side to click this button that shows the results of the poll. Now, I want to point out that whether it is live or if it is ended, you can show the result. But it will only show up after they have voted. So if I had not yet voted on this question, I kind of wish I hadn't. If I had not yet voted on this question, they wouldn't see the vote totals. They would just see yes or no. Once you click vote, then the results from that poll will appear. So that's how the Q&A function. You can ask, or excuse me, the polls function. You can ask as many polls as you want. It's going to appear in the poll settings. And just to point this out, on the student side, if I were to go into chat, you notice that chat is completely blank. So we're not taking up any room inside of the chat in order for these questions to be asked or the polls to be asked. We're not taking up any room. What might be nice about that, depending on your circumstances here, you may have the need to turn off chat entirely. And so that's one of the functions that's been there just for a little bit of time. But over here on the, I was doing it on the student side, over here on the teacher side, you have some host controls, and you can block their opportunity to send chat messages. So once I do that, if I try to go into the chat, it says chat is not available. So they can't chat. They can still ask questions though. So it's a way for you to basically moderate the chat if you need to, but for them to still ask questions that will appear on the Q&A side, which they would not be able to respond to because you can delete these if they aren't keeping on task, right? So it gives you a little bit more moderation as far as that goes. Okay. So the feature that everyone is curious about, I'm sure, are these breakout rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this breakout room. And I am shown this page whenever I go there. Up at the top, I can choose any amount of rooms from, I think, 1 to 100. So you have up to 100 rooms that you can create, and you are given the buttons to click to make it go up or down, or you can type it in. So if I wanted 20 rooms created, I could do that, and you can see that there are 20 rooms that are ready to go. I can name these breakout rooms if I wanted to. 20 is too many for me, so I'm going to go down to 2. I can name these breakout rooms, so I can put them as, question 1, question 2, and they should be talking about these questions when they're inside of those meets or inside of that breakout room. And up here at the top, I can shuffle them. So you can see as I am clicking the shuffle button, the students are being moved around into the different sections. But if I wanted to, I can completely clear it and start from scratch. So I could drag them into these different sections depending on the makeup in the class and where I would like them to be. I can even move myself into a different breakout room, but I would recommend you starting off in the main room just to make sure that the kids get sent over to the correct breakout room. Now, just to point out, even if I click shuffle here and it puts them in a certain spot, I can still move them around from there too. The ability to move them from group to group doesn't change whether you are in shuffle or whether you clear them out and start from scratch. You're able to move them around as you see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 people in one group in question 1, 2 people in question 2, and when I click create, you'll see what it does on the student side. It tells them to join a breakout room. You're joining question 1. You can return to the main room at any time. So I'm going to join with this student, and I'm going to cancel with this student. And you can see that they can cancel that. They don't have to join the session. But it tells them that you have been invited to question 2. Now, I told you kind of at the beginning, I would recommend leaving yourself in the main room to start off with to make sure that they made their way into the breakout room like they should have. So now I can see that this is still circling. I'm going to ask, Mandy, hey, Mandy, you need to make it over to your breakout room. And as soon as she does, then the circling that is happening will go away. Oh, I guess that was with Cave Student 2. So Cave Student 2 and Cave Student 3 have joined. Mandy and Cave Student 5 haven't. And so I can keep track as it's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and join with those other 2. All right, so we have this student right here that is in question 1 breakout session, and you have this person right here who is in the question 2 breakout session. And so you can see this is what the students are seeing. Now they have the opportunity in these sessions to go ahead and send a message, even though you turned off the chat function in the main section. It does not turn off the chat function in all of the breakout rooms. In addition to that, if you are recording in your main session, it will not record inside of the breakout room. So that's a couple things that you kind of need to be aware of whenever you are creating these breakout sessions, okay? As far as what am I doing as a teacher during this time, I'm in the main room and I'm completely by myself. But I can join these sessions at any time, and you can see that I've popped into this question 1 session. But I still have the opportunity to either edit these rooms and move myself into the other one. If I wanted to, I can put myself back in the main room from here. Of course, I can do it from the main section as well. Or I can just click the leave button and it's going to return me back to the main room. So maybe I checked on question 1, I want to edit this and I want to go down to question 2 now, and I'm able to join the other session that is going on. So I can move myself as we go along. Well, can you move students? Yes. So if I were to edit these rooms, I could then say, okay, question 1 has been asked or has been answered by these students. So I'm going to go ahead and move them down here, and and I forget which ones I had. So I'm going to move maybe these students, I don't know, into the other. So keep track of the ones that you're sending down. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes, and it's going to then ask them again, are you wanting to join the other session? I guess I didn't move them the way I should have. So the pop-up has now appeared for those other 2 students, and I didn't send these 2 students on accident to different rooms, but you can kind of see that now it's circling again to say that they have not made their way to the new group quite yet. Of course, when they do make their way, the circling goes away and you can see that everyone is where they need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and click leave, and I'm going to, as a teacher, head back to the main breakout room. You'll notice that the students again do have the opportunity here to leave the breakout room at any time. They can click return to main room, and you can see that they have joined the main room. And it shows me here though, it goes back to that circling, and it shows me that they are no longer in this session like they need to be. Okay, if the student were just to completely log out, it kind of changes. Now they have been grayed out. So now you know that this student has been disconnected from the meet entirely. Not that they haven't made their way, not that they haven't left. They made it, but they have left the meeting entirely. They've been disconnected. So you can kind of see the connection status of the kids as it's coming on. So I know that Cave 5 and Cave 2 are where they need to be. Mandy has been disconnected, and Cave Student 3, maybe they're asleep or something. They have not made their way into the actual meet yet. Finally, whenever I am ready to end these sessions, I can click End Breakout Rooms, and I'm going to go ahead and click this on this side, and it says breakout rooms have ended. You're returning to the main room. So you can click return, and everyone goes back to where they need to be, except for, of course, the student who has been disconnected, right? So that's the main functions of the breakout rooms. Again, you can add up to 100 at a time. You can move students throughout. You yourself can be moved in and out so that you can check on those breakout rooms, with the caveats that you cannot record those breakout rooms at this time, or the recording doesn't stay. And the chat functions, if you had chat turned off, chat will get turned back on inside of those breakout rooms. So I'm going to end this session right here. Of course, I do not recommend, by the way, leaving the meeting before all of your students have left the meeting, because they were able to stay in here. So don't leave your meet before all of your students have left the meet, okay? But once they have left the meet, what's nice is you're going to get an email that has some really, really good information on it. So let me open up that email. All right, so just a few minutes after I finished my meet, I got an email from meetings@google.com that gave me the information from that meet. And so there's a few nice things inside of here. So the very first thing is you're going to get a CSV file, which is a different type of Excel spreadsheet of the attendance from that meet. So you can see that all of the attendance, all of the students that attended, what their email address was, the duration that they were in the meeting for, the time that they joined the meet, and the time that they exited the meet. Now, because it's not in Google Sheets, you will have to download this, or you can open it in Google Sheets. And so I would recommend opening it in Google Sheets. Here in a second, we're actually going to be putting this in a new folder that was created on our behalf, and I'll show you that here in 1 second. So let me get out of that and go back over here. And the next thing that I have is the questions. So I'm going to click on the questions, and this does open up a Google Sheet, and it has a printout of all the questions that were asked and who asked them, how many upvotes they got for that question, and then as well as what I did as a moderator. Did I answer it? Did I hide it? Did I clear it? Or did the submitter delete it themselves? And so if there were 50 questions here and you want to check after the fact, well, did you answer all of them? You could figure out the ones that you did not answer, and then figure out who asked the question. So this is going to be really, really nice just to keep track of all those questions and who they came from. Going back into my email, I'm also given the polling results. So in my first tab, I'm given all polls, and then I have poll 1, poll 2, and I can see all the results. So Cave Student 1, on the first poll, they answered this, and then on the second poll, they answered this. But if I were to want to separate it just a little bit, down here on the bottom, I have all of my options to change the different polls as they appeared. And finally, it's going to give you a link to the shared folder that has been created inside of your Google Drive. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to open up Google Drive. And you'll notice that, first of all, inside of your main Drive folder, a new folder has been created for you called Meeting Reports. And inside of that folder, the Meet, another folder has been created for the Meet that this information came from. So inside of this Meet, you have your poll results and you have your questions. Now I've tested this out on a couple of these, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Meet Reports, and you can see that I have 3 different folders now that have been created. You're going to continue to get new folders created. It's going to have the date, it's going to have the time I believe that it was started, or maybe that's the time that it was ended, I believe, and then all of the data is going to be kept inside of there. So it's going to be a good way to organize the data as it appears for you. Now, I want to point this out that the attendance is not in here. And so that's not good. I don't know why they chose not to do that. So what I would recommend, again, I told you to open that sheet as a Google Sheet. So I'm going to go back into my email and click on that CSV file, and I'm going to open with Google Sheets. It's going to convert. It's going to be a pretty quick converting, I think. And I want this data to be included. Again, I wish it was automatically. So what I'm going to do is up here at the top, I'm going to move this. So I'm going to click Move. I'm going to find the folder Meet Reports. I'm going to find the Meet that this goes with. So this is the Meet that it went with. And I'm going to move that there. Whenever I open up this folder, my attendance report is in the same folder as my questions and my poll results. So everything is kept together. That way, I don't have to hang on to every single email that I get along the way. I can archive this email or delete this email, and all of the data that I need is being kept inside of my Google Drive. So those are the main functions that have been added inside of Google Meet as we have progressed this year. And I think today's update is probably one of the best ones that we could have hoped for, because a lot of things that people have been asking for have finally been added inside of Google Meet. So again, we're going to be holding a training on Wednesday, the 21st, October 21st, that goes into this. But if you've watched this video, you're probably going to be set. You're going to be ready to go. But come on the 21st to get any more questions answered, or just to kind of see what it looks like on the kids' side on your own computer, so that you can get a better feel for what's going on. So again, join me then. Send me an email with any questions you have. Make an appointment using my calendar link. Anything. We want to be here for you to give you as much help as possible to integrate these great tools into your classroom. So, but I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.